good afternoon and good morning to all of you who are with us with Baarish Sanvaad. So, in our first series of Baarish Sanvaad, with us in Zoom today, we have Dr. Suresh Kumar Rohila. Let me introduce Dr. Suresh. Dr. Suresh Kumar Rohila has long years of experience working with the development sector, INGO and global think tanks on strategic planning, fundraising, operational management, leading large program teams and working in different cultural contexts. He has worked with development sector, government, non-government organizations and universities in mainstreaming environmental and water sustainability in human settlements in Africa region, in South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda and Tanzania, and in South Asia, in Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka. He has served as an expert member of various committees set up by central and state governments in India, including professional bodies, think tanks, and international peer-reviewed journals. Dr. Rohila has rendered his expertise to several organizations such as the Senior Director and Academic Director of the School of Water and Waste, Center for Science and Environment, New Delhi, Director, Environment and Development, Worldwide Fund for Nature in India, Associate Professor in Urban Governance and Environment in the Administrative Staff College of India. He is currently the program lead of the International Water Association in the UK. So over to you, Dr. Suresh. So my first question is to you about now. We are trying to focus on the Global Cities Day. How do we explain cities and water? What is the relationship?
Thank you, Dhanushi, for inviting me to this dialogue. A very interesting thematic area of close to my heart. And the first question is very topical, that cities are engines of growth. As a village becomes town and town becomes city, increasingly the conventional approach is you try to bring you try to tap sources of water outside the city, and you have a very broken water cycle, and you have overexploited the groundwater and other sources. And water is basically the lifeline of cities, and cities are like engines of growth, but due to conventional engineering paradigm for past few decades, the urban water cycle is broken. So I think what I would like to say is that cities are guzzlers of water. They consume a lot of water which they bring in from the watershed in the surrounding areas for potable and non-potable purposes. One of the big water consumption uses is basically the non-potable water required for flushing toilets, including the other major requirement in cities is the drinking water requirement. So these are the two major uses. Apart from that, there are bulk urban uses like construction activities and other which require large quantities of water extraction and exploitation of water which is not available in situ.
Given that, now for the demand, to meet the increasing demand in cities, resorting or using or focusing more on traditional systems where the focus is largely groundwater, extraction of groundwater. What are the implications?
The implications of tapping or depending upon traditional water supply systems in cities in the past has resulted in rapid decline of the groundwater table. In some cities in global south and in Asia, the water tables are reported to be as low as 400 feet below ground level. This has also resulted in subsidence of land and also damage to life and properties. But also on the other side, there have been traditional water supply practices where there has been a way of handling water with community engagement, and the traditional water supply systems have also stood the test of the time, that they can provide a very good resilience mechanism to the cities if they are tapped and if they are utilized properly. For example, the rainwater harvesting systems, which were developed historically, uh, created a balance between the society, the economic aspects, that how much you can afford for the water, as well as the local context. And it used to bring in a dimension of community engagement for water management and building resilience in the cities. So I think there is a need for the traditional water mechanisms to have conjunctive use of surface water and groundwater, and also tap locally available wisdom to understand that the water cycle needs to be restored, so that we can have a integrated urban water management paradigm in cities.
Talking about integrated water management paradigm in cities, how would you propose to get the city dwellers into the process, convince them to adopt or to explore such a system?
So in cities and in the integrated urban water management, when we start talking, generally a myth is that there is no space available in urban areas where you can possibly harvest rainwater or in situ augment water. The problem in cities is that you start talking about centralized systems, whereby you have a linear pattern of bringing water from faraway places and disposing of the sewage outside the city. In this process, the intervention of integrated urban water management requires that you have to manage water at different scales, at individual household level, at the neighborhood level, at regional level, and at the city level. And there are diverse opportunities when you design the city, you plan the city, that you could have innovative ways how you harvest water at individual household level. How do you harvest the storm water and rainwater in the neighborhood if there is no individual spaces available in individual houses? Then also, how do you tap the regional stormwater drains? How do you integrate the city with the basin? And there is a train of interventions. There are different tiers of intervention at different scales. So integrated urban water management is not just saying that you decentralize and do rainwater collection at individual, only at household level. Wherever possible, depending upon the space available and the potential of roof to capture the rainwater or the open spaces, one should collect the rainwater. One should moderate the storm water such that it does not quickly run off to the river or the sea, and it recharges the water level which is falling down, and then also reduces the flooding, which is basically causing problems in the cities. So these are different ways how integrated urban water management talks about connecting water supply, drainage, wastewater, and having a more an approach towards fixing the broken urban water cycle.
Connected to the same question, so you highlighted the potential of rainwater harvesting, particularly in the context of rapid urbanization. You can elaborate a bit more on how rainwater harvest, other relevant water management practices could be used to address emerging environmental concerns.
Today, cities are facing the biggest environmental concern is the climate change, due to which basically the new normal is that unpredictable rainfall pattern is observed. Second thing is, in the urban areas, there is an urban heat island. So there is a concretization visit, which is resulting in at least few degrees more temperatures increase in cities as compared to rural areas. So rainwater harvesting is a good practice which can help us reduce the urban heat island impact in the concrete jungles in the name of city, what we are creating, as well as increase the sustenance of the green infrastructure, the parks, the open spaces, which are important for bringing for addressing the requirement for a good city, which is a resilient city. So rainwater harvesting can be seen as an infrastructure in the city, a blue-green infrastructure. So at the moment, the city only has green infrastructure, but maybe with the rainwater harvesting, you can have a blue-green spaces, which is actually, these open spaces are act as an infrastructure. And these spaces can be used to harvest stormwater. You can collect the rainwater, or you can recharge the groundwater, or you can slow down the flow and you can let it release the water to the sea when it is not required at the city, and when your demands have been met. So I think I would say rainwater harvesting has a huge potential, and it can play a vital role in addressing the environmental concerns and the new normal in wake of climate change, which all cities are facing in the global south.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suresh, for those valuable inputs and insights. There are a lot of things that we could take forward in a future discussion emerging from today. And hopefully we will meet you again with something similar where we get more insights to these aspects what we discussed today. Thank you, Dr. Suresh, for joining.
Thank you, Dhanashree. Thank you.